Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So glad you could join me again today. This one is slightly different. So as you know, I talked about framing my diamond dot pictures, and this is the type of frame. This is an example of what I put it in the pieces into, so I can then use a battery-powered staple gun to make it. So one of my problems is balancing this particular piece because I'm older and I don't have a lot of strength, and pushing against the pieces can be very complicated while trying to make sure I am putting framing nails down through this. So I am making up a jig that allows me to rest it onto it, and that way I can have it sitting on something stable while doing so. So I have scrap lumber. No point in buying expensive lumber. It's got paint on it. I'm using a 4x4 here in the bottom, as you can see, to give it weight and stability. And the problem is that the type of staple gun nails I have, and here I'll show you what I'm talking about. The longest they come is in 2-inch length, as you can see in the holding capacity. And so they will not penetrate the 4x4. So instead I have these brackets that I'm going to be drilling and putting onto this to stabilize the 2x4s. And all I'm going to use is, I don't use anything hugely important, is drywall screws. And even though they're pre-sharpened, because they pressure these, and these are really thick, your best bet is to pre-screw holes. One of the best ways to do this, because you don't want to knock your 2x4s onto yourself, is just mark the holes, and then you can set the boards aside and the clamps. Don't mind the way I dress. I'm waiting for that surgery, and just doing this type of thing can really aggravate my knee and puts me down for the rest of the day. But anyways, so then we're just going to pre-drill some holes here. They don't have to go real deep. And do the same over here. I have 2 of these. One is a drill, one is a impact gun. So that way, this is the gun. I'm turning mine so the longer part is up the 2x4 to give the 2x4 a bit more strength, because I don't want it to move around. Just drive your Now on the 2x4, because it's pine, I do not usually pre-drill because the pine pretty much moves out of the way and makes it so it goes right into it. And as you can see, this is flawed. It's got a knot piece. It's actually bowed a bit and got some old paint on it. It's not an important piece of wood to use for anything, but like I said, this is just a jig I'm making. You can see where the bark was, and the same, it's got some paint on it. I tend not to throw away pieces of wood. You just never know when you might need some wood. So I'm gonna set the one down. So again, you don't wanna like knock it down. And this should go right in. Yeah, sorry, I'm making a video. He's just checking to make sure that I'm okay. Whoops. Yeah, I tend to rip up my bits a lot. I'm not a man. I never proclaimed to be, and so upper body strength is not always a choice here. And then just go on the other side, do the same thing. Now, normally I wouldn't use clamps like that, the L bracket. I do for certain projects when I know whoops, I'm definitely right-handed, as you can see. That's another thing. Try not to hurt yourself. But yeah, on some projects like on this, using a bracket is like inevitable, because although they do make longer framing nails, they're cheaper nails, but because they're so long, they work. There. And there we have it. There's the bottom part of the frame. Set the gun over there. My box of screws. And with this upper part, because it's only a piece of 2x4, I am going to be using the gun. So I'm going to bring that up a little bit more so you can see. The gun is a little bit weighty. I want to put that as a point. I wanted battery because the problem with using electric is that you have to use an air compressor, and because they're air driven, and even though I have an air compressor that would work, they are loud and they require a lot more sound. Unlike this you just set it on, and I did not want to have to deal with that. And there it is. It's all tacked on. So that's why I went for a battery powered one. I did some research, did by price, and I got this. I've never heard of the company before. It's called Wen. And the only thing you have to watch for is that they do make heavy gauge nails. And depending on your type of gun, depends on how heavy of a metal will work in them. So that is another thing you have to watch when you're using these. So and there we have it. There is my framing. I had done like 3 frames for the Diamond Dot that I gave to my grandkids, and I found it so hard to staple them because again, when you're stapling, you got to go through on the edge here, and it's really hard to hold them. And you see with this framer, voila, can easily hold it one-handed, and it should keep it stabilized when I have to set it on. Now, if I turn it this way, you can see I might create some sort of jig that allows it screws to sit out so it can like slide on it. I'm not sure yet on this. Not sure what kind of mechanism I could make that maybe helps hold it on. So, but the way I see it, it's going to work for me. And anyways, until next time, see you then.